Hey everyone, this is Melanie. Welcome to my process video for Bramble Fox. Today I'm going to be using the Fox box for September along with the Simple Stories Let's Get Crafty line. I will be using the perspectives that say Pro-Craftinator along with some of the paintbrushes and things that go with it. I will also be using the paper snips number 009 and the stencil number 14, which are the cascading larger and smaller hearts. You can find all of these things online at Bramble Fox, and it's the Fox Box Plus that I'm using now that includes all of this. I'm going to start by putting some texture paste with this stencil. I'm going to use the Vicky Bouton texture paste. Any texture paste is fine. I'm just going to start at the top right and go down to the bottom left. Just going to kind of go diagonally across the paper just to add some of the hearts on top of that pink graph paper. And as you'll see as we go along, I didn't add enough hearts after I layer my paper that I'm going to use for my background, and I had to go in and add some more, which is really easy to do when you're using this. Next, I have my pictures. I'm just using two 3x4 pictures, and I took my 6x6 paper pad and I cut several different pattern papers in some different size rectangles, mostly about 3x4, and I'm going to arrange them around the background. And I just distress the edges some just to give it a little bit of texture. And then once I get them the way that I like them, I will just glue them down with some wet glue. Then we can start adding all the different perspectives. I love this paper. This collection matched perfectly with these pictures that I had. I will add some foam tape behind the photos when it gets time, just to pop those up to give, again, just a little bit more dimension. Takes me a minute to get everything arranged, to get all the colors spread out and just as I liked them on there. Wanted to add some of that black in. I just always like a little bit of black. It just kind of grounds things. And this took me longer than I thought it would take, but I think we're almost finished here with this part. I'm going to overlap the photos just a little bit. I needed one more black on the other side just to balance it off. And then I think I end up adding a little pink piece under there, or it may already be on there. I think it's already on there. Yeah, I just layered it between the floral and that, making sure everything's glued down. Now I'm going to take, this is where I add the other hearts. So like I said, I added too much of the pattern paper in the background and didn't have enough hearts showing. So I'm just going to add a little bit more at the top and the bottom. And like I said, this texture paste dries really, really quickly. I've gotten a little bit of a cold, so excuse me if I am clearing my throat a lot. So once this dries, we're going to start adding in the perspectives and all the fun things. On your perspectives, they do come with a little film over them to protect them. You want to make sure and take that off. Here I'm using the paper snips, and a 1-inch punch fits these paper snips perfectly. And I punched out all the circles, and I'm going to use the ones that say, "Oh, happy day, craft happy, and we stick together." I'm also cutting some of the word strips off of the paper snips, and they're just little sentiments, and I'm going to use one that says "Today was awesome," as well as one that says "Stay wild." So I'm going to use wet glue behind the perspective just to help it stay glued down. It helps it hold, especially if you have any mixed media on there. I always like some wet glue. I just use some tacky glue that I've had for a long time. Here I'm going to decide which words I want to use on that. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm going to take these adorable little paintbrushes out of here. There are two little paintbrushes. I'm going to lay them next to the Pro word. And then just to finish them off, I'm going to take the "Today was awesome" and staple them together and glue those on top of the little paintbrushes just to add to it. Here's where I'm adding the paintbrushes, and like I said, just gluing those down to the side. And again, don't forget, sometimes the film is on the front and the back. Sometimes it's just on one side. You can use like some small tweezers or a little pick and just gently lift that film off and be sure and peel it off. They just do that to keep them from scratching when they're making them and while you're getting them settled. Here I'm going to cut a part of the word off of one of those tabs, and it says one of those days. And I'm going to put it up to the top left under the photo. And I'm going to end up putting a little bit of foam tape behind that just to make it stand up a little bit more. I'm going to add the words on top of the paintbrushes. Again, I just stapled them kind of at a diagonal, put a little staple in them with my tiny attacher, and then glued them directly onto the paintbrushes because we were at a scrapbook retreat, cutie camp, and of course you need all the crafty things on it. I'm just cutting a little bit of tails in those just to give them a more finished look as I put them on top of the paintbrushes. I love my tiny attacher. I don't know if y'all have one, but I use that thing almost on every layout, I think. So, that took me longer to do. I guess I didn't edit that out enough. Here I'm going to start adding in some flowers. I'm just going to add in some there's some chipboard flowers and some cardstock flowers, and I'm just going to add those all around my pictures. I'm going to add the So Cute foam title up to the top left of that left-hand picture. And then I will end up using some more of the perspectives as well. Here I'll add the perspective that says craft time. And I just glued it down with some wet glue up to the top left over there. I'm going to make a cluster. I end up pulling a little vintage Polaroid camera and then one of the paper snips in a second that says happy day. To the right of the picture, I'm using the paper snip that says love this. Some of the, I call them fake brads. They're sticky back brads now. You don't have to stick a hole in your paper. Trying to find where to put those flowers. I end up putting them down at the bottom left. And I'm about rounding off that. There's the little camera. That is the cutest little Polaroid camera. I'm taking some of the Distress Oxide and I'm just putting some blue splatters in just to tie some more of that blue Pro-Craftinator title in. I don't know if any of y'all caught it, but in this, when you see these pictures as I'm making it live, the title said Pro-Craftinator. There was a little mishap in cutting that title, and so they sent us a new title and I replaced it. So if you noticed it's the incorrect spelling, that was just a little manufacturing faux pas and it's been fixed, and the final picture will have the correct word, which says Pro-Craftinator on it. So again, just adding a little bit more splatters. I ended up doing some white splatters and some blue splatters. The blue got a little too bright for me, so I added some of the white on top of it just to tone that blue down just a little bit. Covered up my pictures just to make sure I didn't get anything on there. I'm going to end up cutting the little word that says stay wild, and that's going to go up in the top left corner by the little camera. Again, I just needed a little more black up there to balance it out. So we're almost through with that portion of it. I'm taking, here I stamped some words and I ended up stamping it incorrectly. So I took a little piece that said date of one of the cut-aparts, and I'm just stamping the date that we were there and gonna put that under Pro-Craftinator just so we'll know the date that we were there. And here we come on my finished layout. Again, I used the September Fox Box Plus, which has the perspectives, a stencil, and the paper snips in it. And those will be available to purchase in August. I used the Simple Stories Let's Get Crafty by Kelly Bangs, and I used some texture paste. I thank you so much for watching this video. I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up or leave a comment, and especially if you would subscribe to my channel over at Melanie Hyatt. You can follow me on Instagram at Melanie Hyatt as well. Again, we would love for you to follow all the designers on Bramble Fox and follow at Bramble Fox on YouTube and Instagram, and join Bramble Fox Friends over on Facebook. and I will see you on the next video. Thanks.